Hey tech heads, Fina here. So I'm in the USA right now, and one of my friends here actually has the Chevy Bolt EUV, which is an even cheaper EV than the MG4 in Europe. So I wanted to take a closer look at this car, see how it measures up. Now, before we dive in, we do have to address one electric elephant in the room, because as fairly new as this car is, it already has a fairly scandalous history behind it. So let's take a closer look at that first. So a while back, the Chevy Bolt was literally too hot to handle, and not in a good way. So you might remember that in November 2021, General Motors actually recalled all 141,000 Chevy Bolts because battery manufacturing flaws caused 16 cars to catch on fire. Now, the batteries that caught on fire were pouch batteries, and Chevy is going to be switching to lithium-ion batteries in the future. So that is, of course, the good news. But now in December 2022, there was another recall of nearly 140,000 Chevy Bolts due to a potential fire risk with seatbelt pretensioners. So again, as I said, this fairly new car already has quite a hot history behind it, but I think GM is definitely making improvements. So they are taking proactive steps for the 2020 to 2022 Bolt EV and EUV models. I will show you one of these things in the car that they have taken as a precaution, and we'll talk more about that inside. It's really hot, so I'm actually looking forward to getting in there. But these are eligible for new advanced diagnostic software, which is what I'll be telling you about inside, which that actually monitors the high voltage battery. And again, we'll talk more about that when we get in. Okay, before we go inside, I do want to just give you a little spin around, take a look at the car. As you can see, here is the charging port. It's kind of up front on the driver's side, so that's pretty cool. And I'll be returning to that one a little bit later, show you a little bit of how the charging looks. But let's just take a look at this. So it is an EUV, so it is a bit bigger than a sedan, of course. And we'll talk about some measurements once I get into the car. But just so you get an idea, we do have a spoiler in the back, rear wiper as well. So yeah. Okay, so I just want to give you some background about what the story was with these battery fires and what are the precautions that one can take in order for their battery not to catch on fire. So the issue here was, so these pouch batteries, if you were charging your car in your garage, and say you're in the garage, you have the garage door closed, and you're charging your car all the way up to 100%, well, then the battery would sometimes overheat and it would catch on fire. It's obviously not good. So what GM is now doing is they will be installing this advanced diagnostic software, but actually even before they do that, there is a precaution that you can take, and they have made a recommendation of only charging your battery up to 80% in order to prevent these fires. So I'm gonna turn around the camera now, and I'm gonna show you what you can do. Actually, even before you get the software, there's a step you can take to make sure that, you know, your house doesn't catch on fire from your car. So that's good. Okay, so looking at this infotainment here, we have this charging tab here, and you see this like little battery that we have here. So that's cool. What we can do here is you can actually slide this thing up and down, and based on where you put it, you basically tell your car only charge up to this point. So here I'm at 100%. That would be risky at this point because we do still have an old battery in this car. So what we do is we slide it down to 80%, and that's a safe range, and we leave it there. Now what this advanced diagnostic software is going to do, it's going to basically prevent you from going over 80%. So that's the safety step there. Okay, some other stuff with the infotainment. We have an energy tab, which shows you basically your efficiency. It shows you, how efficiently you're driving based on technique, terrain, climate, outside temperature. And if we go here, we have efficiency history. So that gives us an idea of how efficiently or non-efficiently we have been driving. So that's wonderful. Lots of information there. We have some more details. And flow. Not sure what flow exactly does, but that's okay. Okay, now I want to take a look at the rear camera. So this car does have a 360-degree camera. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So in order to get into reverse rather, so I pull up this little lever. It's great, and I already have my little camera here. So I'll just do a little back up here. Ooh, the first time I'm driving it, so I have to be careful. So we get quite a nice, I don't see anything. Okay. All right. I think that's good enough. Did it lock though? No. Okay, now let's talk some specs. So first I want to talk about price. Now the Chevy Bolt EUV standard is going to start at $28,795, which is actually only 22,648 pounds. So I would say that's a pretty sweet price. Again, it is cheaper than the MG4, but we do not have any tax included in that price yet, so the price will go up a little bit. However, the US federal subsidies also offer a $7,500 tax credit for eligible buyers. So for some people, it could be actually quite a cheap EV, I would say. Now there's also a premier version. That one starts at $32,300, so it's a little more expensive, but it's still only 26,187 pounds. So even the premier version is still cheaper than the MG4, so that's excellent. As far as the battery goes, so the new versions are going to get a 65 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery. The range is going to be 247 miles, which is 398 kilometers. That is at full charge. Now the drive unit, we have 200 horsepower or 150 kilowatts. So pretty nice performance, especially for this price tag. I would say it's definitely, it's a nice drive. And we have 266 pound-feet of torque, which is 360 Newton meters. So there's definitely some power behind this cute little EUV, So yeah, it's fun to drive. And we go 0 to 60 in just 6.5 seconds. So definitely faster acceleration than the MG4. Again, it is cheaper. It did have some of those battery issue fires, but other than that, those specs are seeming pretty nice. Now, it does have a fairly slow DC charging, but the AC charging is, it has an 11.5 kilowatt high voltage charging module, so you'll probably be charging at home most of the time anyway.